Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are doing another simple single stream. Today is a good one because we actually do have a lot of content to cover, a lot of charts to cover. It's been a while, and a lot has happened in between this stream, obviously, and last stream. It's been quite hectic. Obviously, I did post a chart in our Telegram, kind of looking over what was going on. You know, it was in a different coin. It was on Milk Bag, I believe. But in general, the market's been moving pretty crazy. So we're going to be getting to that in a minute once we go through coin market cap. But I do want to say welcome to everybody watching the stream right now. Welcome to the stream. If you do have any questions, because I understand obviously there's a bit of a system going on from what I can gather. Obviously, I know you might be able to answer a group, you might be in a group. We're on different platforms today. We're only on HTX and YouTube for this stream, so I can actually talk to the platform directly. So if you're coming from our group, welcome. I'm glad you can join me on the stream. I believe it is a beginners group, so if you do have any questions, have any charts you want to cover, I believe someone said Doge, so we might go on to that in a bit. But you have any questions, anything like that, just ask me. Ask me for coins to cover as well. I'm in the chat, although, I need to make sure I know what's going on, because obviously, on most streams I cover a lot of places, so sometimes I'm not in some chats, so I need to make sure I'm looking properly. But other than that, what we're doing today: Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, main coins, and then kind of going over some of the meme coins on CRONOS, or not meme coins, kind of like the altcoins. Or saying that because we're going to be looking at Moonswap as well, so we're going to be looking at them, and then probably one or two, maybe three of other coins if anyone has any suggestions. But I'm going to look at Doge as well because I think someone asked for that as well in our group, so we will be doing that today. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited. Doing something new today. It's going to be a bit new. Obviously, seeing how everything functions properly, and I'm pretty excited. So yeah, thank you, and let's get into it. So first off, we have Bitcoin 69.56. We're kind of fighting throughout the day. I believe we're at about 70,600/500 roughly. I'm not sure how long, quite a bit, during the day, maybe near the middle of the day. Obviously, we'll go through it when we look at the charts. But currently, right now, 69.558, 548, roughly. Obviously, kind of the big pump. Obviously, 6.1% for, or 6.10 for the 7 day. Pretty crazy. Obviously, kind of having a bit of a retracement, which we'll also go on through the charts because I kind of mapped it out as I was going before we did this stream. Obviously, since last stream, I have done some TA, kind of to look at it on the group and for myself, and it's been going pretty well. So again, as we normally do, we'll kind of go over what I've done previously, what we did last stream, and then move forward to what's going on. But Ethereum 37.31, really crazy movement. It's been really, really insane for Ethereum. It's been nice. I mean, obviously, if you've stuck around for a bit, obviously if you watched Mike's streams on in the mornings, you'll kind of know what's going on there. Just crazy movement. Solana 178. I believe my line was at 173, and then I think I had something above as well. But obviously, we'll get into that again. 16.2% 7 day. I think I looked at Solana. I think it was. I can't remember what prices we were at when we looked at the charts last stream, but it was roughly in the higher ranges anyway. But 178. Yeah, I mean, I had this rough range anyway previously when looking at the charts. So no surprise there, but pretty happy nonetheless. And obviously everything around here. But the rough general kind of idea is within the 7 day, previous maybe Monday, Tuesday, is that we've had a positive movement for the chart. As you can see, on the 1 hour and 24 hour, roughly within today, we've kind of had some negative movement, which coincides with what Bitcoin's doing. Obviously, most things follow what Bitcoin's doing, and Bitcoin's kind of had a retracement, which I will explain in a minute as well. I'm just refreshing the pages right now. There we go. Perfect. So anyway, so that's kind of it for CoinMarketCap. Just want to look at the rough percentages, see what prices are at right now. So I'm going to move on to the charts now. Now, I understand, very messy. This is on the daily. I need to delete some of these lines. I'm gonna delete this because obviously, we didn't quite get there. No surprise there. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really think I never had any hope in this to begin with. I kind of had it because of the daily. I believe because we kind of had like a pennant going on. Obviously, that did not occur. That pennant. So I'm going to swiftly delete all this beautiful artwork. Actually, I'll keep the artwork up there. I will remove the rest of the lines because this, very nice little artwork going on here. But anyway, the reason we're on the daily is because I wanted to show this. I saw this. When did I see this? I saw this not too long ago. just to see, because I kind of saw it between Wednesday, Thursday time, because that's when we did the charts. Obviously, I saw we had kind of had a head and shoulders thing going on right there. As you can see, obviously on drew my charts Thursday. I think our last stream was on Thursday, but you can see on Thursday, is when I had my updated stream with our charts, and after that I saw this here, which is this head and shoulders. You can see here, boom, 2 shoulders here, and then the head. Obviously, the length of it bringing us to the previous high point over here, which is good, bringing us to not only a smaller time frame order block, but this main day order block, which we've been stuck below for forever now, or not forever, since like March time, when we were in our high period for Bitcoin. So we've kind of hit a big block of difficulty, which we haven't really had enough kind of time to kind of test it. You can see we tested it at the time being when we were kind of being in our scenario when it formed at the 13th of March. We kind of had our big movements here and there and everywhere. Obviously, we tried to test it here and there, but we haven't really had too much kind of consistency being there. Because for example, this order block which formed, it did all right, but actually no, I'm gonna delete this order block. This order block's not very good. No, I have too much. I hold on to them too much. I'm gonna leave it actually. But we haven't really been here too long, apart from these kind of periods here. 1st of April time, and then 9th of April. Other than that, we haven't really been there. So it's good to see we've come back to here. But since the 9th of April, we've been forming this head and shoulders, which has brought us back to where we are right now, which is nice. Obviously, there's different reasons for things going on. Obviously, the ETF news was big as well. That humans, it's interesting because chart patterns, it follows patterns which humans follow quite often, because there's so many patterns in nature, and what humans are nature as well. So you can kind of see there's a scary, not scary, there's a really good correlation between a lot of chart patterns, and it just so happens to line up with news. So for example, I believe I had some other things, I don't know what other chart it was, but we had bullish patterns and bullish kind of sentiment on different things, indicators, chart patterns, whatnot, price action, and it just so happened that it coincided with something news-based, which I thought was quite interesting. Obviously, I'm not very surprised by that, because obviously, like I said, humans are creatures of habit and whatnot. So interesting to see how patterns can relate to how humans interact with news and whatnot. But I thought that was cool. But within this head and shoulders, I mean, you could kind of see kind of a what's the word for it? A cup and handle. You can kind of apply it here as well. It's interesting because cup and handles, technically a rounded thing going on, and then a movement, and then moving upwards. So it's they kind of can coincide with each other because of the general nature of how head and shoulders work. Because it's rounded as a head would be, and then the shoulder could be considered this handle for the cup and handle. So you can kind of apply 2 different areas, but nonetheless, the head and shoulders and this pattern, as you can see, we had ourselves, we had the cup here. I've already talked about this. The cup here, then the handle within here, and then we broke out, obviously having this big move upwards. So you can kind of apply different things to it, whatever. But this was big news anyway, which brought us up. But regardless, the head and shoulders would have brought us up to roughly this 71.5 when we started to form this kind of head and shoulder scenario, because it normally blows up after the consistent. Whoops, I don't know what I just did. I think I should move something. After the consistent area, which is about here. So obviously we came upwards, formed the head, shoulders and whatnot, and then had our big old pump past this order block. So, no surprise there. Brought us to this point. Obviously, we're having a bit of a retracement now to kind of test support, which I've drawn a line of there as well, which has been a quite consistent price point. If you look back in time, you can see we kind of used it in many areas anyway. So it's been a consistent price point anyway. You can see mainly over here when we had this kind of like Bart Simpson, coming upwards, kind of hovering and then coming downwards. This price point has been consistent at about, what's that, 69.5? Yeah, I mean 69.5. 69, 70, and 69.5 are always going to be price points which are going to be considerable, because it's the midpoints of anything. We look at premium discounts a lot as well. Midpoints of anything are always going to be quite important anyway. So 69.5, there's no surprise there to me anyway that was a price point which is going to be considerable. Now I'm going to move to the 1 hour now. I will move on to the 4 hour as my main kind of what I'm going to do as our TA, because I normally look at the 4 hour because it's a good mix between longer term movement and something you can actually act upon. But it's easy to see this on the 1 hour. We had our double top here. I'm just kind of explaining what's going on right now within the past, since the start of this week, basically, as you can see from, or since maybe Tuesday morning, you can see from this movement, because obviously since the start of the week was this big pump which we had. But since kind of this movement here in this little range, I'm going to kind of explain what's been going on, where we're going to go through from here. So obviously we formed here, obviously coming and having this huge surge upwards, which allowed us to break above this price point. No deal there. Obviously, significance at this order block, which I believe, I don't know if this is this a 4 hour order? I think it's a 4 hour order block, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so 4 hour order block. 4 hour, it's always good in between, like, as I explained, a good between higher time frame and lower time frame you can act upon. Obviously 1 hour and 4 hour are kind of interchangeable there, for my opinion, on something which can be acted upon. But obviously on the 4 hour we had this good tight order block as well. It's not one of these order blocks which are kind of iffy. You can see it is perfectly perfectly equal to each other, forming this really nice order block, bringing us along all the way to where we are right now. This was always going to be something to consider as a good support and/or resistance point. And as you can see, we used it. We printed exactly at pretty much exactly, maybe $4 off. And again, things always coincide. And this bottom of this order block coincided with the 70,000 mark. So no surprise, it's going to be resistance anyway. Obviously, we wicked it upwards to see how high we can come. Obviously, going above the midpoint, but not being able to break above it completely, which makes sense because midpoint is normally the important part of the order block. So you can see we did had our quick wick upwards. We didn't. Now, what concerned me, and not concerned me, but what made me think about how we wouldn't have held this position above the order block was because of the fact that I explained this. We did quite a while ago actually. We did something similar where we had a really big surge above an order block. We came towards about 69, I think it was, or something like that, 68 maybe. It was down here somewhere. I could probably go back to it really quickly. Which position was it? It might have been around here somewhere, or it wasn't back here. It was somewhere over here, something like that. Basically, the scenario was we wicked above, or we had a big, liquidity surge all the way above this order block, completely surpassing it completely. I've said it's complete twice, but coming past it, completely ignoring. I can't put it any other words I'm trying to put it past the order block, completely ignored it, and we didn't. The concerning part, and I explained it as it was happening. We didn't come back to test it. And normally, when you actually transfer an order block into a supportive order block, rather it being resistance, you'd have to have this scenario, which I'll draw here now. I'll draw it off the chart a bit. Here we go. I'll draw it up here. So normally, for an order block, you need to have a scenario where, if it's coming from a position of resistance, you have your scenario here where you do this. Now, in a normal order block, now what's happened with us is we've done this, and we've just come below because we never. And the thing I'm trying to get at here is we never test it as support, which is what normally happens when you go from an order block to a breaker block. A breaker block is just an order block which is switched from its sentiment. So if this is formed as resistance, which I think this was support for the time being. When it was formed, if you go back to it, you can see it formed from. Okay, well, I'm going to go 4 hour. Where are we now? There we go. It formed from a position of. It should have been a negative order block because it goes from green to red. So we should have come below, which we did, but then we had to surge upwards. So it went. Yeah. Where is everyone? I don't know. I have no idea where anyone is. It is really, really weird. And then this guy's yapping in the chat about nothing. Let me go back down. So let me close that. So yeah, like I was saying, so this should have been an order block of resistance because you can see we come from a green wick to a red, and we came down. We should have, kind of used it as resistance and carried on coming down. But what happened was, we surged upwards immediately, and again we didn't test it, and then we came right back down. Which this is what happens when you don't test order blocks as support or resistance when you swap. So it went from an order block when we were here, surge upwards, became a bullish breaker block, and then we didn't test it support, which became right back down, and now it was an order block. So it's been an order block, resistance order block for the longest time. And what happened was Same scenario, we surged upwards above. It then became a bullish breaker block, and then obviously, like I'm getting at here, we didn't test it as support. Which, if I go back to our little scenario, so in the scenario when we were above it, let me go to here. It was a bullish breaker block. So in this scenario, it was a bullish breaker block. We surged below, then it just became a normal order block, which obviously we have it right now. So what should have happened was, it was a normal order block, or you could probably get the better shot. So it's a negative order block, resistance, difficult. What should have happened was, and this is what I'm getting at, like I said, using it as resistance, obviously, I'll do it from the midpoint. I'll do this a bit simpler. Obviously, using it as a midpoint, when we had a surge upwards, we should have came back to our midpoint of the order block. Maybe the top point. The top point could work as well. I'm just going to do the midpoint for now. We should have done that, and then we would have came upwards. And then this would have then been bullish breaker block. This would have been a bullish breaker block, and we would have kept that, and we would have stayed as support. So no matter what happened from this scenario, if we came down, we would have used it as support. Obviously, we had a quick surge downwards, and we tested it, and we would have used resistance. So this kind of scenario here, this would have actually given us a good support point and kept us above where we were. So let me delete this now and go back to the actual price action. 1 hour, here we go. So what happened here? So you can see in the difference in scenario between above here, where we didn't test, again, also having this double top, you could apply different things, I suppose. You could have, kind of a Bart Simpson, big surge upwards, hovering, and then come downwards. But you have it's more of a double top. Go back to it here. It's more of a double top than anything else. As you can see here, more of a double top. Obviously having the consistent price point being over here. Actually, it's not really a double top, is it? Because it doesn't have the bounce back to back here. It's more of a Bart Simpson, but regardless, it was a either. Actually, let me compare it to Bart Simpson. It's probably a bit better if I do Bart Simpson, because this actually isn't really something considerable. No, but it technically is, because obviously you've got this midpoint, so you've got boom, 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 boom coming down. So regardless, this was technically the neckline, whatever. But you could also technically apply a Bart Simpson. If you wanted to, I suppose you could kind of compare it. Possibly, it wasn't really, but you kind of have it, coming upwards, hovering, kind of coming upwards here and then coming downwards. So do what you want, but it was a chart pattern which supported a sentiment of bearishness, kind of bringing it down towards negative range, which we did. And then what happened? What was the difference between this above scenario and down here? I'm sure it's 22 minutes here, and I've been yapping about Bitcoin. I will move on, don't worry. Coming down below it, obviously now using it as an order block. But the difference was we then tested the midpoint as need be, and then bounced off it. So then it actually became a proper resistance point. It actually, formulated. It wasn't one of these things which we quickly wicked, down here and there. But it is an order block. So, in a normal order block, scenario, it doesn't really, it matters when you bounce. You need to bounce off it to make sure it is going to be a resistance point. But it was an order block when it formed anyway. So it was a resistance order block when it formed anyway. So it doesn't necessarily matter. But you can see how tight we were at, the midpoint here and, here. Obviously, we then tested the top point. So we came a bit further. We had good, bullishness at this scenario here. Obviously, since, these two positions, this, to be fair, in this scenario, we had a more powerful movement upwards from momentum, more VWAP movement upwards, and the money flow. However, we had just fallen down below it, so I'm not surprised we didn't actually break above. But subsequently, as we came upwards, this came upwards here, and we kind of had this range, and we were kind of getting lesser and lesser. And you can see here, as our momentum, we're starting to do this, and this isn't a very good sign. This normally we're in a crab scenario because we're moving up and down. So obviously, forming in this crab, kind of a side shifting area, being stuck below, this order block. So where are we now? Well, bouncing off this consistent price point as we've had since, March time, and we're now at the bottom of it. So what should make sense, if you say so, well, not if you say so, but what would make sense is, we're technically going to bounce again off this support point. However, if we look at, market cipher, it's looking quite negative right now. Obviously, we are coming down. and we're just slowly moving downwards, as you can see by, you know, the money flow is coming down. You know, not a great thing to see. So it's not looking very positive for Bitcoin right now. But you know, we are holding this price point very strongly. It seems like it's something consistent, and it's something we haven't really. I mean, we've worked below it, yeah, but we've come right back above it. Apart from this scenario, but I can almost guarantee this was a unlucky print, because this is the 1 hour. It was probably one of them things. You know, we probably wicked down and then we printed out before we could get up. So what I could probably see is we came down and came right back up. So this is a quick movement. It wasn't like we stayed below it and then came upwards, which would have been a more concerning factor. It was just, I think this was a mid-print wick where it looks like, oh, we broke it, but we didn't really, because we were mid-wick, but on the 1 hour we printed. So if we go back to here, again, the 1 hour and the 4 hour probably printed at very similar times, and the same scenario occurred here. But you can see difficulty, midpoint, difficulty. But to be fair, if you compare it on the 1 hour, on the 4 hour instead, you know, coming down, bouncing off the midpoint, then coming back to here, then bouncing off of our above position, above to our top line of the order block, then coming down. So you may be able to see the pattern of higher highs here, maybe coming upwards, and then maybe starting to use this order block as a support point, and then coming upwards. Now, you can see on the 4 hour that is more of an applicable scenario, as you can see, because money flow is coming upwards. Obviously, VWAP is coming down, momentum's coming down. So it's one of these parts where we have conflicting data to, you know, kind of suggest to us, oh, what's going on. It is conflicting. Obviously, you know, money flow is coming upwards. That should now be in a bullish kind of range. I'm actually seeing something a bit concerning here. I think it's a bear flag. I think this one's called. I always do this. Yeah, here. I'm starting to see a bit of a bear flag, which isn't great. So if we draw that, and I think it comes from here. Yeah, so I was about to say this as well before I started talking about this. So what I can see happening right now, we're kind of in this range, coming upwards. We're probably going to bounce off this and come upwards. You know, before I saw this flag pattern, it looked more so that we were going to try and surge above the order block. So what I could see another surge upwards, because what do we have right now? If I delete all this, well, we've had bounce, 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 bounce. If we had one more bounce, which, you know, obviously that's a bit fast of a drawing. Bounce, 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 bounce. The third one, we'll have 3 bounces, which is normally the pattern, the way it goes. The third bounce, we come down, if it is in this form. So I could see us maybe surging upwards one more time towards the, you know, 70,500, trying to break this order block. Maybe seeing more difficulty at this order block. Probably, you know, wicking upwards here. But I think if we don't break the order block, because, you know, again, chart patterns are never 100%, you know, accurate. They don't always happen. But I think the scenario is, if we don't hold above 70,450, we're going to fall down again and actually follow this through and come towards 68.7, back towards our support point down here. So probably just break below this price point and come down to this position here. So that's what I can see happening. So I think we kind of have a deciding factor scenario going on here, where we're stuck between this order block. Either we break above and we invalidate this range. What could probably happen is, if I get this here, there we go. Obviously, if we do break above this order block, obviously, you know, we're starting to see ourselves, you know, we don't have, our momentum isn't above the 60 mark, so we could move upwards again to have positivity. The VWAP's kind of doing its thing. It's not really doing much, but our money flow is coming upwards. So we could turn it around. I think we can turn it around if we do have a bit of positivity to break us above. So what I think could happen to invalidate this is we come upwards and then bounce off the midpoint, and then, or probably come upwards and then break out and then bounce off the trend line possibly as well, and then come upwards. Maybe forming a little head and shoulder scenario, something like that. That'll be on the lower time frames, if anything. But, you know, if you know what I mean. So I think this could happen. I'm hoping this happens anyway. I don't want us to fall down. But it does, like I said, from what it seems like, it just does depend if we stay above or below this order block, and how, you know, severe that is, coming down towards 68,750 if we don't hold this. Let me check this up. It says GRT, is that a coin? If that is a token, I'm not familiar with that actually. If it is a token, I can cover it in after we do the latter coins. But we are 29 minutes in. and I haven't actually moved on to anything else. So I'm going to do everything else quite quickly now, and then move on to you know, the CRONOS coins, and then some. So that's what I kind of think for Bitcoin. If I go to the daily now, we're still bullish. I mean, to no surprise, some of these were news-based, so it's more of an offset. So when we move upwards based on actual price action and not news, then it's concerning that we're in this scenario. However, this movement was slightly, you know, news-based, obviously depending on, based on the ETF news. So I'm not really too concerned about this. I'm more looking at, you know, money flow and seeing how that's going. We're still in a positive range, so it's probably, you know, you could probably supply the argument that we're technically in some sort of mini like pennant thing going upwards towards you know, the width of this. Can I draw anything, please? There we go. You know, coming upwards towards maybe like the 74k. So I could see 74k possibly. Oh, let me draw this properly. I want to draw this. I can't. It's locked. But you know what I mean. About there, let's say. So you know, we do have these huge resistance points, but I think 74.40. 74,400, you know, that could be the next point if we do have this positivity wicking upwards. But again, we've got to be careful because we've run off, you know, we've really run off from our kind of position where normal orders were. We've run off completely, and now we're kind of in this no man land. But you know, we're still holding this this trend line down here, or not trend line, this significant price point like we've already talked about. But you know, we're in a kind of a deciding factor scenario right now, so it does depend. It does definitely depend. So I'm going to move on now though to Ethereum. This is going to be exciting because we haven't looked at this since the big old pump we had. So what's been going on? So this was yeah, this was before everything happened. So we bounced off this trend line which we already had. I'm just seeing lines. I'm going to delete some of these lines. So came upwards, obviously using some of these older blocks as we went. You know, no surprise there. You're just about missing this trend line, having the big surge upwards, where we haven't actually come into anything. Now, what I'm going to draw though is kind of because we didn't come back to this area. That is not what I wanted to draw. It's not so much of a fair value gap. I just have nothing really else to compare it to, but to have it on the pattern. So we have this kind of area we haven't actually really used as to test. It doesn't really matter because we have this one above here, which isn't actually as good. But we have this one here, which it seems like the entire width or the entire height of this candle has been taken up by now support points. As you can see as well, you know, we came back into it, obviously testing a support, really strong support this was anyway. So you know, coming upwards now. I think I already drew this somehow. Oh yeah, because I looked at Ethereum on my lonesome. Obviously having this, you know, we see as often having this nice arc upwards or testing a support and then coming upwards. So if we stick ourselves on the 1 hour, because it is a bit easier to see things, you can kind of see, obviously kind of a trend line broke out of it. I'm trying to see if there's anything consistent going on in terms of a price point. Or not price point, like a chart pattern or anything of the sort. Maybe kind of having some sort of kind of trend line going on here from that point onwards. You know, kind of coming on to there. Obviously, this isn't really a neckline per se. It's not really a double top. It's kind of like a bounce twice coming down. Similar to how Bitcoin did, I suppose. But like I said, I'm not really seeing much consistent price action to compare anything to. But I mean, I suppose you can maybe argue there's possibly some sort of chart pattern here going on. This would be a pennant. If I draw a nice line going from the, it's not great. It is really not great in terms of being a pennant. I would probably more so compare it if I go to the 4 hour. Yeah, it's not really a great pennant because the pole would have to kind of come upwards, which it's not doing. So I'm actually going to compare it to back here. That's not great either. You know, I'm gonna delete this. I don't like this. This isn't nice. If I go to like pennant, it kind of the pole needs to kind of, you know, be up there. As you can see, you know, it needs to be up there, which it's not quite doing, which is unfortunate. Don't quite have. We've got these stepping stones to have a pennant, which we don't quite have. So we don't have a pennant on Ethereum, which is unfortunate for, you know, some bullish news. money flow is coming down, but if I go too far, it'll probably come upwards. Yeah. Again, similar scenario with Bitcoin, but interestingly, money flow is still coming up strong right now. VUp is actually coming upwards. So when this kind of combo of the VUp and the money flow coming upwards is quite a good thing actually. Also, we also have a nice looking order block here, which is quite cool. You can see we're using it as support in this area, coming to the midpoint here. Obviously, coming towards near-ish the top point or the bottom point, sorry, of this order block. Very nice as well. But when you have this kind of combo of money flow going upwards and the VUps going upwards, it's not very hard to change the sentiment and the momentum, which means we could have more positivity for this. So if I draw this trend line again, it looks like we could be in a positive range for Ethereum. So coming upwards like this could be a possibility. Obviously, again, for our support point as per some significance, our indicator, our crypto warehouse's indicator for support and resistance drawing, automatic dynamic support and resistance drawing. So if you want to check that out, you can ask me. We don't have it in the descriptions or anything per se, but you can come ask me. So I think I can see something like this going on. I don't really think this is a pattern per se. I need to print out the chart patterns on my wall or something just to make sure I have them all. Because I never want to be wrong. My one worry, I'd rather look it all up live on stream than do anything else and get it wrong. But anyway, we don't really have a pattern, a rising wedge. Actually, to be fair, you could argue there's a rising. It's not really a rising wedge, is it? It's not a wedge, really. Rising flag. That's got to be one, right? But anyway, you got that going on. Only you, Hunger's going. Thank you. Only you. Thank you for joining, because we've been here on this stream, on I can say YouTube. I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Obviously, I will get told off in a minute if I can't say YouTube, but we've been here for so long. We've been here for 36 minutes, and no one's here. Not on the other platform, which I actually mentioned, HGX. No one's been here. It's been a lonely stream. That's okay, because sometimes you need to be on your own. But yeah, like I said, you kind of got this rising flag. I'm going to coin this now, rising flag, coming upwards. So bullishness. I'm bullish. Obviously, 4 hour bullish, or looking like it might show bullishness. But again, I'm not surprised. We do need to be testing supports, and it does seem like we've formed order block support here, which is great to see. If I go to the daily, pretty good. Obviously, momentum is going upwards, but as time frames go onwards, you need to be paying attention to kind of momentum more so than anything else. So money flow is coming upwards. Great, as we continue to go onwards. So I could probably see us maybe testing 37 again, because by then momentum will probably start to fall down. But I think we'll stay in our bullish trend. Bullish trend will stay as long as we print our lows print above previous lows, if you know what I mean. Obviously, that's bullish trend anyway. So as long as we're doing that, I'm not surprised if we do come down to maybe 37 again to test the support. So we might hover for a bit more. We might invalidate this kind of range we're in and just completely ignore it. But I think 37. Obviously, this is 37.30 here. I think 37 more so from this order block. As long as we're kind of staying as, I think if we test it a bit more, give momentum enough time to come downwards, then money flow will be coming upwards, VUp will be coming upwards, momentum will be coming upwards, then we'll be bullish again, and we'll be coming upwards towards, 4,000. I'm here, I just came off work. I enjoy every stream. I can catch with you and Mike. It's become a natural stream. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You need to tell me your times as well, because I said this in another stream as well. It is, obviously we don't have a really big set on stream. Obviously sometimes we're at 8, sometimes we're at 9. So if you're if it does vary, then that's fair enough. But if there's a good time, then I'd rather, because since we don't have like a billion viewers, we can't cater to everyone. But since we're not like ginormous, I'd rather cater to you guys being able to actually watch the stream. That's the whole reason I'm here. I want people to watch the stream. We can talk about what the chart's going to do. So if there's actually a better time, then you get off work, then absolutely do tell me. I don't know if I can work like that. If there's a better time you get off work, then say it. But someone said GRT. Let me look this up. Is this okay? Yeah, I'll look at the graph. Okay, I'll look at it after we look at finish off Solana. Look at the CRONOS coins. Probably up until maybe 50 minutes in, or 10 minutes left, and then we'll look at GRT. Or GRT, whatever it is, the graph, whatever it is. Let me bring that up. Yeah, so Ethereum, I think that's pretty much it. my assumption was we're going to kind of maybe bounce off 37 again. We don't really have that. We're 37.5 right now. It's not like it's too crazy to say we come back down to here to test it, but I think we're going to stay in this bullish kind of movement right now until our momentum comes down. And when our momentum comes down towards the midpoint again, VWAP will already be coming down and coming upwards again. So I'm not worried about that. As long as our money flow is coming inwards and we're still in a positive momentum, kind of in a bullish pattern, kind of trend. I don't know why I've forgot the word trend, but as long as we're in a bullish trend, I'm not too worried. Similar with Bitcoin as well. So Solana, this one's gonna be interesting. I don't think I've really looked at it too in depth since we haven't really looked at it since we broke 137. So let's have a look. I need to go onto here. There we go. What is this? Yeah, so I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, I thought it could go lower, but it didn't, which is good. So let me delete this. So this is what I had drawn. I think this was a cup and handle, which we did eventually occur. Obviously, the market's also pumped, so it's not really a surprise there. Came upwards. So what I had drawn was I think it was Thursday, so it was about here. So I think we were here roughly, maybe here. We drew this. We bounced off here. I said we'd bounce off here, which we did. Obviously, I do preface this. Whenever I draw lines, they're not so much of a time-based thing. It's more of a general movement. So you can see the general movement was we bounce off this line, then test this as this line, and then come upwards. Where did my line say we'd come upwards to? Well, this 173 mark, which we did. As you can see, we came to this mark pretty nicely. Obviously, you could argue as well. Why didn't I go there? There we go. That we also came to 176. This kind of area anyway. And then what happened? Obviously, bouncing off support, and then we had the big pumps again as Bitcoin, everything broke out, bringing us upwards towards $188, $189, which is crazy. Also, you could argue as well the order block as well. This is a really big line. I don't know why this is so big. Okay, there we go. Let me make sure I bring these along. Is this like a daily order block or something? Jesus, why is it so big? Oh, it's a weekly order block. Right, that makes a lot more sense now. It's actually not very accurate. Let me draw this properly. There we go. So a weekly order block, that's crazy. It's a big old order block. So yeah, I mean, it's a weekly order block. I'm not surprised we entered it and kind of did our thing. But if we drag across the... Whoa. Let me have a drink, because I'm just like spitting out spaghetti. My tongue's like flying all over the place. But I'm not surprised we're moving within the weekly order block, because it's the week. What is going on? I don't know. I do not know what's going on. I'm just speaking like a I don't know what's going on. Let me just compose myself. Get the chart back up. There we go. So I'm not surprised we're within the weekly order block, because it is the weekly order block. It's a higher time frame. We're going to be within it anyway. So you could argue that there's also an order block forming here, which we are going to be using as a support a bit, which we're kind of doing. I don't really like that order block. Not really a fan of it. I just have this, obviously I'm the Oracle. There'll just be times where I have this feeling, because I am the beholder of the crypto universe. So there's some times where the crypto universe will just be telling me like, this isn't a good order block. I can't argue. I'm just a figure of the universe. I'm just a person within, or not even a person. I'm a creation of everyone's mind. You guys watching me right now, I might look very different. I actually look to the aspect of what the person wants to see right now on the stream. So, some of you might be seeing, a woman, a man. I might be 47. I could be 12. I could be 18. I could be 100. I could be 1,000. I could be a tortoise. I'm only viewed by how it is viewed. There's probably scriptures about it as well. There's movies which do the same thing. So I'm actually just I just appear how it is viewed on the screen. But these feelings inside of me, they just tell me that that's not a good order block. Okay, it's just part of the universe. I can't argue it. It's just how it is. But anyway, enough waffle. $178.74 right now, bouncing off this support point very nicely, kindly. Really, really kindly suggested to us by some participants the support resistance drawing indicator, that dynamic support resistance drawing indicator, which we have made for ourselves, which we are giving away for free. Obviously, if you guys want it, I've just advertised it twice in two charts, but just message me. But we are kind of using this top line as resistance. Obviously, kind of coming to the top point, not really. It was a bit invalid. Obviously, we were really excited. Like, oh my god, we're going up for Solana towards 187 roughly, so 2% padding. It's always 2% padding. If you know, you know. I think they say if you know, you know. 2% padding, the greatest thing. Obviously, now using this bottom one as kind of the support resistance scenario. But as I've already argued before, I'm glad we didn't really stay in this because it's really tough support resistance anyway. But regardless, using this bottom one, so we've kind of found our range. We've kind of got the top line here, about $184 as resistance, obviously $175 as support, quite nice there. We are, unfortunately though, on the 4 hour anyway, forming a nasty bear flag. Nasty, very naughty. Similar with Bitcoin, pretty much the same as Bitcoin actually. Now I don't know how this is going to last, but let's just argue the point that we trek ourselves upwards towards this midpoint. Where does it roughly take us? Well, it roughly takes us to 173, which was the area which I had already suggested as a significant point anyway. Yes, I know, I'm brilliant. But even better, I've just seen bottom of this area, which we're using as support. I'm going to delete 173 actually, because I don't want to have that anymore. We actually, if you see it, I've just drawn this live. Obviously, you know, you saw me draw that. Coming from the top, if we do go to the midpoint of the order block, it could bring us down towards this exact price point, which we had over here anyway, as a significant area anyway for the high point, which before we fell below it and then came above it again. So I think I'm going to argue the same thing as I did with Bitcoin. And I'm not really going to go too much in detail because we are 46 minutes in. I want to look at the CRONOS coins, which will be a bit quicker. It'll be more of an update than anything else. So what I said with Bitcoin was we either don't break above the order block, or in this case the midpoint, and then we actually fully utilize this bear flag, which we have similar with Bitcoin, or option B, with Bitcoin being above the top point of the order block, for Solana we'd come above the midpoint and then use it as support and then go onwards. And then another thing I said was we'd actually come above both the midpoint and the order block. No, yeah, the top trend line and the order block, and then use it as support and then come upwards and then have this bullish trend line here for Solana, bringing us upwards. So that, again, same like I said with everything else, it kind of depends on what Bitcoin does, Ethereum does, Solana, but we were due a movement downwards anyway, and I wouldn't be surprised if we stay a bit longer to make everyone catch up with us and make kind of everything, especially with momentum, kind of catch up with the scenario we're in right now to bring us upwards. So again, be careful, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if something like this happens, especially with what's going on with the daily. Not very good for Solana actually. Not looking very, very happy. But money flow is still coming upwards. So yeah, but I do think we still have a bit of a. I think we do actually follow this. Look what's going on. VWAP coming down. This is coming down. Money flow isn't coming downwards, but this is just too negative to not pay attention to. So I think very soon. Obviously, this is the 4 hour. So I think with the daily, I think this happens. I think we come towards 172, 173. So I'm going to be careful. I would be very careful with that, guys. So, yeah. I'm also improving on my trades. You mentioned something about an indicator, how to use it. Well, did we not give you the indicators? Have I not given you the indicators yet? Or have we, and you're asking how to use it? Because if you're asking about how to use it, then obviously I will go into that. But oh, someone's actually commented him. Hopefully he's still here. Hi, it's my first time here. Can you suggest what altcoins are good to buy? Well, okay, I will send it you. I'll explain the rough how I use these anyway in a minute. I'll only spend like a couple of minutes on it, and I'll send you them after the stream. I promise. I must have forgot to do it last time. I'll send you it on Telegram. I'll send you the links to both these indicators, which obviously you can use Mark Cipher A, but I know some people have limited kind of if you're on the free version or not. I think we're on like the one above the free version, but not like the super one. But I only really use Simple Significance and Mark Cipher B, and then Chart Patterns. I don't really use too much. But yeah, I will go into that in a second. But what altcoins are good to buy? Well, I can go from what I can see, and I've been quite invested, which we're actually going to look at in a minute. I've been quite interested in the CRONOS coins, the new coins which are coming out. There's tons coming out. Obviously, Crow with Knife, Crab with Knife. I didn't look at Mouse and Pasta, but there's Moon Swap, which we're actually going to look at in a minute, because I do have a interesting little setup going on there. And it's not a meme coin, as all the other ones I mentioned. It does have utility, and I think it's very, very cool. So I will look at that mainly. But you know, other altcoins, I mean, there's, you know, Solana's great. Ethereum is also great. I mean, I think Solana is cooler. Anyway, obviously Ethereum and Solana are both, you know, big powerhouses. But I mean, again, it's not really that much of an. I mean, it's not really much of an altcoin. It's in the top, whatever number it is on CoinMarketCap. So it's kind of a cheating answer. But I mean, I will go on to the CRONOS coins in a minute, so I will show you them. But yeah, in terms of how I use Market Cipher, well, I should make a video, you know. I should make a video actually, but I'll go into it. Kind of the higher the time frame, the more influence you need to look at the money flow. So money flow gets, obviously on the lower time frames, it's not as important. It's important, don't get me wrong, but it's not as, actually I could probably change this range a bit to fix it up. There we go. I feel that hasn't invalidated anything. I'm just trying to fix up this range. But on the lower time frames, money flow doesn't matter as much. It is a bit of a rapid little dog going on the lower time frames. You can pay attention to it, but the money flow is a trend. Now, the way I describe it, the way a lot of people describe it, VWAP is like kind of your fast shooting S&G. It kind of really goes, you know, fast. It is more on, it changes based on how the coin looks. Oh, I don't know why I haven't drawn this yet. A little bit of an order block going on here. I did draw this. What am I doing? I'm stupid. But anyway, yeah. Money flow is your trend. So if it's going upwards, you're normally in a positive trend. If it's going downwards, you're normally in like a negative trend, which is consecutive candles in a single direction, whether you be in a bear trend or whatever it is. Momentum is more of it can move. It's kind of this like jack of all trade one. So it can matter based on what coin. Obviously, you'd have to zoom into the color here. So the width between here, it's kind of like the MACD, if you've ever used the MACD. The width between them is, you know, how bullish or bearish we're about to be or not about to be. Obviously, it depends. It changes based on how the candle is. So, you know, consecutive red candles, these get wider and wider because as more bullish you go. But obviously, we start to have green and positivity, and it starts to arc upwards and then have positivity up there. But the VWAP, but the way the normal kind of thing everyone says, or not, I don't know. I think some people say it, but the one I know personally, the VWAP. It changes before the momentum does, which changes before the money flow does. So on a normal chart, there's scenarios where it doesn't necessarily do that, but in most cases, the VWAP will start to come upwards for a longer period of time, and then momentum will come upwards and start to arc, and then the money flow will follow. Because obviously, you know, it's kind of the backwards way. You know, money flow is the trend. You know, momentum is kind of the intra candles, and then the VWAP is kind of candle by candle basis. So it makes sense that they follow, but you can kind of predict how the market's going to move based on how this is moving. And what I like to try and predict how the market cipher is going to move. So you see right now, you know, VWAP is kind of hovering. It doesn't really matter because again we're on the 4 hour, by the way. Money flow is coming upwards pretty nicely, and the VWAP is coming upwards from a lower position at 0. So we're in a relatively bullish trend, which makes sense because we have this bear flag going on. And, you know, we're in the second step of the bear flag, which is this bullish trend here. So it makes sense we're bullish right now because we're in a bullish trend. What I think is going to happen, though, is VWAP is going to start to come downwards, which is going to kind of plant the seed of negativity. You know, momentum is going to kind of do this. And then we're going to just, all hell's going to break loose and we're going to come down towards 173. Because I'm quite interested to see how this is going to happen because this is looking pretty negative right now. Another thing, you know, you can look at, there's anchor trigger waves, that's not really important. The one other thing I'll mention before I need to move on because we are quite far into the stream is the 60 marks here. This is when there's significance in, so here, for example, I'll compare it here. When our momentum, when this kind of moved, obviously this was a pretty crazy move, but I need to find a good comparison actually. Here, for example, this here, we are above the 60 mark, our momentum crossed towards the negative side of things and then came down, and then we had a 8.3% move downwards. Here, obviously this was, the closer it gets towards the 60 mark, the more it matters, but in this scenario, we had VWAP really strongly going upwards, money flow was really strongly going upwards, but the momentum was close towards the 60 mark. But normally, when you have a movement towards the 60 mark, as you can see here, this went upwards, we then had a consecutive movement upwards up until our negativity of, you know, in the 20%. So there's that. But you can see as well, you can change really quickly and it not really do that much difference. You can see that it only really moved like 2%, 3%. So, the 60 and minus 60 mark, whenever I see like a red dot, it is normally a quite considerable red dot. But again, market cipher is a directional tool. Some significance for me and support resistance and order block, they are a positional tool. So market cipher can tell you which direction you're going to go. Some significance, resistance points, order blocks, any of those sorts will kind of tell you where you're going to come up to. And that's all I really need. I'm going to try and incorporate moving averages, but I want to do more, because I know they're quite basic, but I want to do more research on it to make sure I'm optimizing my usage. So I haven't really looked into it. I don't really care because this works more than enough for me. I just want that extra little edge, like the moving averages. But again, with moving averages, they can kind of be a directional. They're kind of a directional as well, because they give you a price point if you're above or below. They kind of give you a directional, possibly a positional, because you normally can bounce off the moving averages as well. So if I bring this up, yeah, I'm not surprised here. So the 21-day, which is a pretty good one, you normally, if you come to it, you normally bounce off it pretty well. Obviously, you can surge below it. I think some of these are 200-day and whatnot, but even market cipher A tells you when they go grey, you're normally below it for a long period of time and it becomes bullish. But if you're above it, it's normally a bit of a bearish sign. You're normally looking for longs. If you're below it, you might look for shorts. But again, you need to do more research on that. So that's kind of a little bit of a quick breakdown of how I use my tools. But we are at 9 hours, not 9 hours. We're 55 minutes, 56 minutes in now. We'll quickly move on to go on to just giving an update on the CRONOS. I'm not going to do the charts. I'm going to give an update because we've already kind of looked at them. The main one we'll look at is Moonflow, I think it was. I think I did it on Matic. Now, this could be either gone really well or really badly. Okay, so it's not gone well. I was quite bullish on this. It could happen, but we're not stopped out yet. Now, can we recover? I don't know. Obviously, again, and I always preface this. I say this on my charts as well. Whenever I look at lower cap markets, it's riskier. Lower cap markets, they can move and invalidate a lot easier than high cap markets can. And I said this when I was drawing the charts as well. We're currently in this expanding. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's called like a this. Which one was it again? I had reasoning behind my crazy. We were in this trend. I can't remember what I compared it to. No, I think that was core. Oh, actually, I'll quickly jump. Was it core, which was in that trend? I can't remember if it was in that trend or not. But that was good. We unfortunately bounced at the order block there. I'll get onto that in a minute. Doesn't matter. So I think I convinced myself that we were in some sort of bullish trend, which obviously we were coming upwards anyway. But we've actually come outwards, and as I've always prefaced this anyway. Lower cap markets can break out of trends, so we broke out the trend pretty easily. Came below the order block. Came below the order block, and then started to bounce off it. And this was what I was concerned about, if we came below it or not. We then came below it. I was hoping we would use it as support. We kind of ignored that, and then we, came towards. Bouncing off it, tried to surge above it, but we didn't test it as support, which I've already talked about earlier in the stream. When you don't test to make a breaker block as a support or resistance, we didn't test it, came below, and now we're kind of in the midst right now. Lowest point I can see, maybe this one consistently, kind of there maybe. You can see maybe this small, tiny little, not really an order block actually. It's not really good. I'm trying to see if there's any significant price points. As like a place you could go to for the price. Maybe, I kind of like here, you can see kind of bouncing off it there, kind of ignored it. It's maybe coming back towards to test it there at 54. But yeah, it was unfortunate, lower cap market, and this is why, always, do your own research, not financial advice. I always say this. It's a lot riskier when you do lower cap markets because they can just, ignore trends quite easily. And it is unfortunate we did. It is very unfortunate we did. And again, also, I always say this, lower cap coins, they don't have to follow the market either. A lot of the time, they can, it's 5.6 million. It's not that much, really, really not that much. It didn't follow the market, because what time was it here? 17th of May. Actually, to be fair, it did roughly. Well, I can't remember when we pumped, but right now we pumped twice. We have only really pumped once here, so it's unfortunate, but we came down. So to try and recover this, if you did take it, I mean, I could see maybe it was bounced off 54, but again, it just does depend on if we come down or not, because we could, come back into the range. That is always a possibility. Or we could bounce off the range and then use the resistance and then come all the way down, which would be unfortunate as well. But what I could also see us happening, it's kind of a reach, to be fair. It's kind of got a head and shoulders, but it's kind of a slanted head and shoulders, so I wouldn't really pay too much attention to this. I'm going to try and see how viable it is. It'd have to come up to there, wouldn't it? Yeah, so it's not really head and shoulders. Try and see if I can find head and shoulders. So yeah, really unfortunate for Moon, but I guess we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. We've gone to Core USDT. Yeah, this is unfortunate. Again, a lot of these. Oh, it's not USDT. It's Crow, isn't it? There we go. Also with pairs as well. Obviously, you have to bear in mind with the pair. It depends on the price between the price of the pair and the coin itself. So yeah, the valuation of it will depend on because if you're not comparing it to a stable coin, obviously that will then based on the sole kind of I can't think. There's some words that I just can't think of. It does depend solely on kind of the value of the currency and not two currencies at the same time, which is something you have to bear in mind too. So what it looks like, we had this kind of So we had. We invalidated something over here. I can't remember what it was. Or it was over here. Then we had this kind of negative movement, forming this kind of bull flag. Or no, bull pennant. Is it? It's not. This isn't a flag. It's a bull flag. Good. So a bull flag. And I thought obviously if it came to somewhere above here, we would come towards 86. But this order block seemed very strong, as you can see, bouncing off the midpoint here. Unfortunately, it had to come to that we came down to there. But as we can see right now, we basically bounced off this order block, coming to this top of the order block, and now we're in the middle point between both lines. As you can see, this looks like a slight middle point in between both here and here. You can see it's roughly near the midpoint. The midpoint's about there. So if I go for these two midpoints here, it's about there. So it's about there. So that's about the midpoint in between the two. You can kind of see, using it here, bouncing off it here. So it kind of looks like we're in the higher range of this range, or the higher range, the higher end of this range. But you could also possibly say there's kind of a order block going on here, which we're kind of bouncing off right now. It's not very strong on the block. It's not very, it's not very good here. You can see it's not very accurate. What could happen? Obviously, you've got this going on. We could probably come upwards, maybe, with this kind of thing going on. But we didn't really break out. We obviously broke out of the range, but it really wasn't a strong kind of bull flag, which is unfortunate because we did have a lot of resistance above us. So we did actually come upwards towards these higher points. But again, $41 million market cap, obviously a bit of a higher one, but not very high. Again, really not that high. To give us something where we'd actually be able to have a big surge upwards from the low market cap and bring us towards the higher end. But again, it does depend. I mean, I do have prospects. Again, I think in general, like Solana and Bitcoin, I think we could have some negativity. But if the general market moves upwards, these will start to move upwards. Again, lower market caps, they could break out these order blocks quite easily and move upwards towards the higher ends. Again, similar with Moonflow. I do want it to... What is this? Oh, that's not what I wanted. I do want it to go up. I really do want it to go up. I think it is very good. And I think for the low market cap, I do think in general it should go up. I think it is a very good project. Obviously, there's a video on our channel. You can go check it out if you do want to get more details on it. I don't want to give all details because it's not what the stream's about. But I think for the market cap and where it could possibly go, I do think it is a very good coin and a very good project. I do think we could have more positivity in the future for it. So, I still hold it, even though we exited out of this range, I do think we have positivity. But now that I'm looking back on it, it does kind of look like we had kind of this, bearish expanding triangle, kind of. You could see they both don't have the same gradient. You could probably argue the fact that they're kind of going at different rates. If you see here, actually, it's more so this, isn't it? Now that I'm looking at it, it kind of looks like, where is it? Kind of looks like this bearish expanding triangle. So it actually could look like we're breaking out of it, but it's not very high. Like coming to it really, look, you can see the length of it only really comes to how high we came. The length of it is about here, coming from it anyway. So it would only really, obviously, that would be terrible for the coin. But it did, to be fair, it did look like this more as I kind of re-angle it. You can see what's going on in the daily though. For this, again, nothing really interesting going on for the daily. I mean, yeah, we do still have potential for the daily to come back out and upwards. This order block was just really difficult. You can see, like, it's just really difficult to get above. But, we haven't printed on the daily. It could come back upwards. Again, I don't expect us. How much is that going to be? Could we come up 8% in, what, 2 hours? I don't think so at all. So it'll probably print out beyond this range and then come downwards. So it could be a little spout of negativity going on here, especially with how negative this look is for this this expanding triangle thing going on here. So yeah, I do think a bit of negativity, very negative actually. Oh, this might have been what I looked at. Yeah, not actually looking good. Now, you know what? I'm going to change this now. Although I do think the project is very good, and I'm pretty sure over a longer period of time, if it gets traction, it will go upwards. If I go to the website, it's got some. I can't see. It's quite. I can't really see it right now. I have to click my wallet, but the systems are great. The systems are just. You know what? Just watch the video. The systems are great. I'm pretty sure Mike had a good thing or two to say about it. So I think we do have this negativity, but I do think because again, $5.6 market cap. If that starts to go up proper, then this will just be low points you can buy at. So yeah, I guess we'll see for Matic, not Matic, sorry, Moon Swap. So we're now 6 minutes in. The last thing I'm gonna look at is GRT. If I go back to trading view, because it has been requested. This will be quite a quick one. Obviously, if you do want longer, let me make sure I can. It's loading forever. If you did want longer TA. It's preferable you come to the Telegram and ask us in the trading area for a coin, because then I can plan it, or not so plan it, but I have a general idea of how many coins we have, because it helps. Obviously, it's not really, so if you have it in the chat, if you just post a coin in the chat, more than happy, but I more so want to look at, things I can, know about, which is if you were to post it in the Telegram, I will do it, and you kind of have like a guaranteed spot to look at the chart. So if you want to join the Telegram, it's in the description. You can check it out. So graph. I'm going to mainly look at the 4 hour here. What do we really have? It's not really looking too interesting, I suppose. It kind of looked like we had kind of this going on, and then we broke out of it. Not really broke out of it per se, but we're kind of coming out of it now. Obviously bouncing off a resistance point. However, I should probably, let's just go to the 1 hour. It'll just be easier to see this in completion. You can see, the kind of pole is this whole movement coming upwards now from this position. It would probably bring us towards, 38. If I get, that's my square, there it is. Probably within this area, bring us there. Obviously, if you were to long it now, it would probably give you, I'd probably be conservative, maybe 37.5. 6.2%, pretty good. Obviously, if you want a good risk reward ratio, maybe it looks to seem like there's some sort of support point here at 34.50. So maybe to a lower point of here. Maybe if you wanted to aim for a 2 risk reward ratio, which would be pretty good, that could be pretty decent. There's not really looking like there's any difficulty, like any order blocks per se. But we do have to be careful though, because I'm kind of seeing a double top, which would be pretty tragic to bring us down. So be careful of that. But it does seem like we are breaking out of this bullish flag. So also kind of this bullish flag. We're already breaking out of into it using the line. You can see we're kind of using it as a positive trend line, bouncing off it here. So I would hope we'd break above this resistance point, Obviously, it has been used as resistance over here in this area, kind of over here. So, you know, we'd have to break above it. We're having difficulty again, but, you know, we would have to see. But even more tragic, we have a what looks to be a wider double top. And this is the neckline. If we came towards, maybe bring us towards 31.45. So we're going to have to be really careful here. We need to break out this support point. But if Bitcoin and Solana are moving down how I could suspect them to do, it's probably wraps from here. You know, it would probably be wraps. Maybe not as low as there. Maybe the 32, I'd probably say. Just be careful. Obviously, risk reward. You've got a really good risk reward here. So if you want to be careful, you could probably do it to this 36.25 maybe. That'd be a good risk reward ratio. So, you know, I'd hope it'd be this movement because we are breaking out of this bull flag, but we could be forming this bull top, this double top, which could kind of bring us down. Even on the smaller frame, this is also a double top look here. This is a bit stronger though. You can see bouncing off this midpoint pretty accurately. It'd probably come down. It'd be pretty, you know, difficult to you know, see that. So yeah, it'd be unfortunate. It would be unfortunate. So it looks like we could have a double top. We'd need to break out this resistance point, 35, 36. But let's see how the market goes. Let's go to the higher time frame to see what's going on. Maybe on the 4 hour. We could see we're quite bullish there. I mean, we're not really we're a bit oversold. What I could see happening on the 4 hour, it could show potential that we could have, you know, more surge upwards to break resistance, use it as then support, and then go upwards. Based on the fact that momentum still has a tiny bit of movement left to come upwards and then come downwards. So maybe kind of boom like that. But again, it's looking a bit negative, as much as I don't want to say that. Again, on the 1 hour though, money flow is starting to come down. On most charts, you can see this as well. Money flow is starting to come down on the 1 hour, and we kind of have a bit of a mediocre momentum, and VOP's kind of coming down as well. So I'd be careful. I probably wouldn't take a trade in this because it's kind of got a bit of a conflicting. You do have the potential of this bull flag, which it does seem like it's breaking out of. So I would want to say it's going up 6.2%. But with what could go on in the market right now with negativity, we're seeing difficulty at this resistance point. We could have this big old double top going on, bringing us down, you know, 9%. So, you know, be careful is what I'd say. It's difficult. I hate doing that. I hate saying, oh, be careful. But to be fair, it's kind of high. It's not really like, it goes to a double top. It needs to be pretty accurately on the same position. Is there? No, it's not. Okay, never mind. You can see like both of these, they're really, really close together. And this isn't so. However, this looks so. This is more of a double top. But it's not really, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one. This is definitely a bit more of a double top going on than anything. If I go to 30 minute, you can see, boom, you know, we're coming down now. If we break out of our range, coming down towards, you know, 33.23, which would, you know, not be very good. But again, I'd hope, we've already broken out of the bull flag, so I'd hope we'd continue to move upwards. But the market might look at negative. I've said the same thing 3 times in the past 4 minutes, so I'm actually going to stop that. Take this as you will. Obviously, I'm just a guy who looks at the charts at the end of the day. I just look at what's in front of me and I give my opinion on it. It is my opinion at the end of the day. If you want to take the advice of it, obviously that's your own opinion and your own judgment based on if my TA is good or not. None of this is financial advice. And yeah, so only you. I'm going to send you all the links. Obviously, I use mainly some certificates for Microsoft B. You can use Microsoft A. If you find like a great YouTube video on it and you really think it's something brilliant, send it me actually, because you know, I don't really look at using that much. I really just look at the EMAs. But I'm going to send you links now on Telegram after I end the stream. And to everyone who's watched, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I thank you for spending time out of your day to come watch the stream. It's been a quiet one today, which is fine. It makes sense. We're not streaming as some platforms like, you know, I can't say the names, but we're not streaming on them. So it's a bit of a quiet day. It makes sense. But again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin. I'll be back though. I'll be back on Saturday. Let me go back to it. There we go. I'll be back on Saturday though. So I guess we'll have a bit of a, yeah, we're still in the range. You can see we're still in the range now. So it's looking like we could have this bit of a spout of negativity. towards 68,600. So yeah, I mean, if I had the order flow, it'd be great to see if we could, if there's anything, if there's high order flow below, which we'd have to come to sweep. But yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see how as the days progress. So I'll be back on Saturday. I'll probably give an update on Bitcoin and whatnot on Saturday. So stay tuned for that. That's our professional show, proper professional. That it's like a news channel. We're like, I think we should be the top, YouTubers in the entire of the platform, because it's just the most professional. It is the most professional stream out of all of them. So obviously come to that side of the stream. You can be the judge of that if you want to come see the stream. It's a great stream. It is brilliant. And then I'll be back on Monday as well. I think next Wednesday we're actually doing something in the office, so that's going to be great as well. Yeah, we'll see. Thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate you being here. Join us on Telegram. Really good place. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Saturday. Goodbye. Actually, what I'm seeing as well, gotta be careful. Kind of got this, could have a double top thingy going on here. Because we're out at this neckline. I should stop the stream, but if we come to 71,400, we start to really come downwards. We have to be careful. But anyway, thank you all, and goodbye.